everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Boobies and Noobies, the podcast that asks novice romance readers to think outside the dick in a box and brave the unbridled world of erotica. I'm your host, Kelly Reynolds, and today marks the 5th day and 5th episode of the Boobies and Noobies holiday special, aka the 12 Days of Boobsmas. We're bringing you 12 holiday stories, 12 episodes, and 12 festive giveaways all in the month of December. Joining me today for the 5th dose of boobtastic holiday fun is actor, improviser, and my recent Improv 1 teacher at Second City Hollywood. Give it up for Corey Rittmaster.
I'm allowing time for the giving up.
Perfect.
1 second.
And they've given it up.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Wow. That's a really warm welcome.
Oh, so glad.
Is
glad.
Is it weird seeing each other during daylight hours?
It definitely is, yeah. And sitting down, not standing in a circle, passing an imaginary ball around.
Yes.
Yeah, it's refreshing. Although I do miss having that regular class every Friday night. It was super fun.
Oh, good.
And as I mentioned, Corey and I, we met in Improv 1. I was a student. He was the Mr. Miyagi. But now it's your turn to get a little schooled today, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm excited to have you. And I told you about this in class and said, hey, do you want to be a part of this podcast? And what was your first thought?
Well, my first thought was absolutely, because the way you described it, specifically for people who are not aficionados of this type of this genre, which I'm not at all. And I thought, okay, that's such a brilliant concept that I have to be a part of it.
Good. I'm glad. Yeah, because I remember telling you, oh yeah, I do a podcast about romance novels. And you're like, oh, I don't know anything about that. And I was like, oh, no. But the concept is I bring on people who have never read. You're like, oh, I would absolutely do that. Yeah. So it worked out perfect.
It's such a good idea.
And then as far as improv goes, are you working on any shows? Are you performing, teaching? What's going on with you right now?
Yeah, I'm still teaching over at Second City. And then right now we're about to get into the holiday season, so there's not a whole lot going on. Everybody's traveling, so I'm on a little bit of a break. And so, and I kind of go through cycles like that every so often. So after the first of the year, I'll be looking to get back involved in something. Yeah,
but enjoying the break too, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And, still auditioning for things here and there. There's still a straggling commercial or TV show co-star they're looking for.
I know. It's a slow time of year for everyone.
Yeah, it all starts to wind down, and that's just how it works here in Los Angeles.
That's how the cookie crumbles. All right, so let's talk about some holiday traditions, because not only are we talking holiday romances during the 12 Days of Boobsmas, we're also talking traditions, favorite recipes, best holidays, worst holidays, whatever it might be. So, Corey, I'll put it to you. What's one of the ways you and your friends and or family celebrate the holidays together?
My wife was raised in a Christian upbringing. I was raised Jewish, so we do that blended idea, and we have a Christnica party every year.
I love it.
Yeah, so sometime around the holidays, and it's just not tied to any specific one. It's just whenever it sort of schedule-wise fits for everybody. We have a party. It always has a different theme, just sort of whatever mood we're in that year. One year we had just come back from a vacation. We got to go to Spain for a vacation. So we did it. It was all like Spanish tapas, Spanish drinks and stuff.
I love
it. One year my wife was just like, I want fancy foods. So it was all fancy foods.
Okay. I like that Christmas is not already the theme. Like there's also like more to the theme than that.
Well, it's entirely made up, obviously. So we were like, we're just going to take that to the nth degree. We're making it all up as we go along.
Yeah, I like that. I would do, have you done one that's just like all appetizers, like just like, little finger foods and stuff?
Yeah,
I like
that's a good one. Yeah, that would be a good one too. We've done we did Mexican food one year. We did one Asian, whatever, we just sort of.
Perfect.
Whatever we're in the mood for.
Sounds delicious too.
That's fun. It's just a chance to, like everything else, an extra way to sneak in time with friends during the holidays. Yeah.
And of course you've got your sweater now.
I do. I have one of those ugly Christmas sweaters that is Hanukkah themed. Mm-hmm. So I can it says, represent. I believe it says, let's get lit.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And we'll be sure to post pictures so everyone can admire it.
I mean, it's to be seen.
Awesome. Stay tuned for our book review and holiday giveaway, but first, a promo for the Dare Daniel podcast.
He's the critic.
He's the comic.
And that's the gimmick. It's the Dare Daniel podcast, where film critic Daniel Barnes and comedian Corky McDonald do your dirty work by watching the worst movies imaginable.
Know of a movie so bad you have to share it? A film with a bad rap you've always been curious about? An underrated bit of cinema you'd love to hear discussed? Or are you a great big fat person? Whatever the case, we happily accept your most sadistic or altruistic dares.
Every Tuesday, we release a full-length episode of cinematic stunt work.
And every Thursday, an action-packed mini-episode featuring previews, general movie discussion, and your movie dares, plus beer.
Available on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play,
Our website, daredaniel.com, and anywhere fine podcasts are burnished and proffered.
and make sure to check out our sister pods, Serious Talk Seriously and Graphic Novel Explorers Club, for more quality Sacramento podcasts.
Today's reading selection is The Duke of Christmas Present by Sarah MacLean. And how Scottish is that? I mean, they make shortbread in it, but MacLean, that's just perfect Scottish for this book.
Yeah.
And like some of our other holiday picks, this is not a novel, but rather a novella. It's one of 4 stories included in the recently released holiday anthology, How the Duke Stole Christmas. This is actually the 3rd story from this book that we're reviewing, and the 4th one is soon to come. This book was published in October of this year, 2018, and is available on Amazon $5.99 Kindle edition. Do you think that you'll read the other stories?
Oh, there's no way in hell.
One was enough, huh?
Yeah, well, if they're anything like this one.
Oh, no.
That's okay.
I have to say, actually, and we'll talk about this in depth, but this was probably my least favorite of the 3 that I've read so far. Yeah. I did enjoy the other 2 more. Granted, everything is going to have its flaws. They do all feature shortbread cookies.
Oh, my God.
So, the 4th one better. It better have that.
Sure, because yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's just basic theater rules.
Yeah. Okay, so we're getting ahead of ourselves. We'll start with, before reading The Duke of Christmas Present, had you read a romance novel, novella, story, any of the above before?
No, not that unless there was something from that genre that was also like a classic that got assigned in school or something, and I'm thinking back, but
sure.
It's been a long time. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Why
not,
so crazy.
Corey?
You know what's so weird is that we are so familiar with the concept, the tropes. I recognize all those things, but I go, from where?
Right, where did it start? Where is it coming from?
How did I get those in my knowledge? Because I've never actually sat down and read one of these cover to cover. I guess you just pick up enough from various pop culture references and whatnot.
My 2 references before having read romance novels were Kathleen Turner's character in Romancing the Stone and Jewel of the Nile. Yep. She's a romance novelist, and it even starts in the beginning of the first movie with a scene from her novel, which I thought was funny. And then Chandler's mom on Friends is a famous romance novelist.
Yeah.
So exactly. Those are my 2 pop culture women that I think of.
Yeah, there's enough of them out there that it's just all seeped into our brains.
Yeah.
So whether you've actually read a romance novel or not, you know exactly how the vibe is gonna kind of.
Yeah. Do you think those preconceived notions of it will turn people off from them or attract them to the genre?
I mean, I think it's more just whether your sort of tastes lean towards that already or not.
Sure. I
think if you already were kind of thinking that, then you might gravitate towards it more.
Okay.
Anyway, but yeah, it was. I definitely, to be fair, I went into it super open-minded. Mm-hmm. Even sort of I want to like this book.
Yeah.
Because I want to give it a fair shake and not be too clouded by my own.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And you know what? It's, for me, obviously I've read many more than you have. And I've also read Sarah MacLean before too. So I kind of had an idea going into of what to expect from this specific author.
Yeah, so you're coming at it with a very different point of view, which
is
kind of cool too.
We might also walk away with some similar opinions.
Okay.
So
all right.
Before we talk about how we felt about the book, let me tell you about the book itself. And this is the synopsis straight from Amazon. Here you go. Rich and ruthless Eben? What are you calling him?
Oh, we're going to have to talk about this, aren't we?
Yeah, because this guy has got a name, Eben. I'm going with Eben, Duke of Allryd.
I initially thought it was Eben, and we'll talk. You keep
Oh,
going.
boy.
Keep going.
Okay, so here we go. Rich and ruthless Eben, Duke of Allryd, has no time for holidays. Holidays are for whimsy and charm, the only two things his money cannot buy. Lady Jacqueline Mosby is full of both, even now, 12 years after she left to see the world. When Jacqueline returns for a single Christmas, Eben can't resist the woman he never stopped loving, or the future they'd once been promised. It will take a miracle to convince her to stay, but if ever there was time for miracles, it's Christmas.
Oh.
Right? Oh boy. Okay. So first of all, I want to hear what you have to say about Eben, whatever his name might be.
So this is pretty funny because I came in here thinking I'm going to admit something that I can't believe it took me so long to figure out. I feel like such a moron. Kelly's going to make fun of me.
Uh-oh.
And now I realize you didn't make the connection.
Oh my God.
Ebenezer Scrooge. He's an Ebenezer.
Oh my God.
Parallel.
Okay, which is fair.
It took me, there's 10 chapters?
Yeah.
10 little chapters. It took me about till chapter 8 before that
and you know
connection made it for me.
What's killing me is I definitely too wrote down several instances that I made the parallels to A Christmas Carol, to Scrooge.
She's making very, very obvious parallels to Christmas Carol, but I don't know why I missed that. Because I thought, too, what a weird name. But I was like, it's one of those old English names, I guess. And I was, same thing in my mind. As you're reading it, it's distracting, like Eben or Eben. And,
right.
And then I don't know what it was.
Oh my
during
gosh.
one of those later chapters where he's super grump and
it just clicked.
The light bulb went off and I was like, Ebenezer Scrooge.
Oh my gosh. And I thought I was doing so well. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm making all these connections to Christmas Carol. Yep. Although I'm wondering if you're naming him Eben for Ebenezer, what the rest of the characters don't have those connections, do they?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think they do.
And there were other references to Christmas Carol, but not enough or strong enough, so it just feels like this
flimsy.
Just this half-hearted attempt.
It feels lazy. It really does.
Yes.
And you know what? There are things that I did enjoy about the story, and one of them was I did like this kind of take on A Christmas Carol, but I feel like you're right. It didn't really go all the way there. It's not, to be clear for everyone who hasn't read it, it's not a direct retelling of A Christmas Carol.
No,
it's
not at all. And see, now that would have been an interesting take, in my opinion. An erotic retelling of A Christmas
Which I don't think
Carol.
I've read.
The possibilities there are endless. There's lots of good opportunities there. She just doesn't go there enough. It says it's like she took a step towards it, but it's
right. And
half a mile down the road.
We only visit the past.
Yep,
That's
exactly.
one of my complaints about this book too, is that it anything of note really in the book takes place in the past, and they all take place on past Christmases, and these ghosts are haunting him. They're not really ghosts, but it's the ghost of his relationship past. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I get it. But you're right. I feel like it definitely didn't go there enough.
Right, exactly.
And I have read Sarah MacLean before, and I feel like this was not to the best of her capabilities.
Not her best work.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's good to know.
Yeah. Not my favorite.
Definitely good to know because I, if this is the only thing you read
of
Sarah MacLean, you're gonna walk away going.
Yeah. This would not be what I would want anyone's first introduction to romance, nor their first introduction to Sarah MacLean to be, because I know that the genre and her as an author are better than this story.
Gotcha. So I'm the one who got fucked.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
God, and you know what? I pick them and I randomly assign them for at least the Christmas series. I wasn't thinking, gotta find that perfect story for Corey.
Corey was really tough on me in class. How do we get him back? I got an idea.
Do you have...
we'll give him this shit show to read.
He can take this one, the one that's not fully developed yet.
You know what? You could have just filled out an evaluation like everybody else at the end of class.
See, and I'm even thinking, I'm like, sometimes the problem with novellas is they're too short to develop a story, but I feel like you could have done.
Oh, there was plenty of opportunity.
Yeah, I really feel like you
to.
could have done it. Especially like A Christmas Carol is just such a time-old story that it doesn't need all this time.
It wouldn't like if they gave you the structure already.
It's already.
If you want
there.
to be a lazy writer, go with the Christmas
Just put
Carol.
in the past, present, future. You done.
Who you boning, who you used to bone, who you're gonna bone.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it was almost like isn't it in Christmas Carol? Didn't he have like a girlfriend when he was like a teenager or whatever? Yeah, it kind of to me was like the story of like if Ebenezer and that girlfriend like got back together years later, and I'm like, yeah, but here's another problem I have. We usually start with the positives, but
I think we covered it. Here's the positives. It comes in English where it's able to be read. So there you go. There's that positive for you.
And you know what? I've got a few more. Okay. But no, that is one of my main issues is also the fact that 12 years have passed between this teen couple, breaking up. She leaves to travel the world with her aunt, which that was actually one of the things I liked. I was like, that's cool for a woman of that time. What a baller backstory.
Yeah, to be fair, you're right, actually. I would 100% agree. In fact, her whole character... No, I should say whole character. We'll talk about this. There's aspects of her character that are really positive, and I think are positive representations of women in pop culture media, whatever.
Yeah. Especially in that time.
Yeah, absolutely, for that time, certainly.
Yeah.
But how she's outspoken and confident, and she doesn't take a lot of shit from him.
Yeah, good. Because everybody else does.
Yeah, but then at the same time, come on, girl. At some point, why are you still... He's such a dick.
12 years have passed since they've even seen each other. And so when something like that happens, book, movie, show, whatever it is, my question is why now? Why is this the year that you're like, you know what? And she even says, you never came after me. I was waiting for you. And I'm just like, you're this take charge woman. And this is the one place in your life that you're going to wait for someone to come get you for 12 years before making the decision, you know what? I should go get him myself. I did not buy into that at all.
No, that part was the reasoning behind all of it too. Just because he was just he wanted to make sure that he was rich enough. Yeah. And
he wanted to prove himself to her. Again, it's Ebenezer. Right. Okay. But Ebenezer, I felt was more money hungry, too. He kind of started out... He was poor. So, in...
Oh, this Eben.
Oh, no. I mean, in,
traditional
Christmas Carol.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's poor. He wants to not only, He wants to, find his place in the world, but he wants to provide for, his girl. I get it. He's never good enough, but... In this book, they have the same fight over and over again, and that is 90% of the novel or novella. I mean, it's a short story too, but that's all they do is well, you didn't come after me. You were always good enough. No, I wasn't. I needed more. I needed to get more for you. It's just back and forth over and over.
And it's just him thinking about how much he wants her and loves her, but won't actually ever act on it until... I mean, until it's almost too late, and I'm just gonna say it. And he gets her in the end.
Does he get her because she tells him that she's gonna marry someone else, or does he get her because he ate the magic shortbread cookies? I mean, which is it? Because both of them are just such great motivations. It's magic shortbread cookie love, or oh, she's gonna marry someone else, gotta do it now,
right? Does Sarah MacLean just leave us wondering? is this her
were they magic cookies?
Were they actually magic cookies?
Yeah.
Was it the threat of another dude?
I for sure thought at one point that she was making pot cookies, because she's it's a special family recipe.
Yeah, right. Something
it's a secret recipe.
Back then, what would they do? Some sort of poppy opiate.
Yeah. Opiate cookies. Yeah. So again, most of the things I actually like about this book kind of tie in to things that don't work for this book. For example, I like Jacqueline, or he calls her Jack. I like her story that she's independent, but then it ties into the fact that well, if she's independent, why is she doing this now? So then there's the secondary characters, because this only has 4 characters in the whole book, and the other 2 are his business. Is he his business partner? He's something business related. Lawton.
Charles Lawton. Is he supposed to be the Jacob Marley?
I guess.
Like the friendly, upbeat business partner of the miserly Ebenezer?
Yeah.
But there's no, or not Jacob Marley, Bob Cratchit.
Cratchit. Got it.
And or either one. Though.
Either way.
There's no...
Well, they also have no purpose in the book.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh, Lawton, okay, so he's, like, funny, good. Like, he's gonna, like, push him to make choices, maybe. And then there's Lady Jane, who's Jacqueline's aunt that she's been traveling with. Yeah, and I'm like, okay, she's, like, the mean, funny, crotchety old lady. But again, like, neither of them really do anything. They don't really add to the... Like, they could easily not be there and nothing would change.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I'm just like, are you the comedic relief?
And like, such possibilities.
Yeah, exactly.
The Aunt Jane, whatever, Lady Jane could easily be like a Maggie Smith type of, smart alecky, hit you with those punchy.
She'd be fun.
I read
that character before, and that would have been a fun one. But no. Again, it seemed like it was kind of like not quite there. Yeah. The one thing that I did enjoy, but again, ties into an issue, is I really liked the first few Christmas flashbacks to when they were like young teenagers falling in love. And there's this moment where they're always talking about how it never snows on Christmas.
Right.
Eben makes all these paper snowflakes
for
Jacqueline.
Drops them down on her under the staircase.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I was like, how that is like a cinematic moment. Like, that is something I would love to see. But
yeah, absolutely. That was a very cool
that was my favorite part.
Visual. Yeah. That was and very sweet, and it showed this young couple relationship and yeah, it's like that was the idea, and then she just never could come up with the energy to write any more interesting stuff.
Right, because then the problem is their past love story is so much more interesting than their present one, because their present one is her popping out of the blue and showing up in his kitchen making like hot chocolate late at night.
Yep.
And then, because they have the secret passageway door that connects their houses.
Because they were childhood best friends, and then it blossomed into a relationship. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and she just shows up making hot chocolate, and then he's all surly, like, no, you gotta leave. And isn't she leaving in like a couple days? Like, she says, I'm only here for a couple days, then I'm leaving to get married.
She's going to get married to some dude she met on her travels.
Yeah, the Scottish guy. Mm-hmm. Hence the shortbread in this story.
Angus.
But then all of a sudden, like, really, they only have a few times together in the book of, it's them fighting. How did this go wrong? And then, I miss you.
Because they do these flashbacks, and at some point it got a little confusing too. Of like, wait, which? Is it now Christmas? No, this is the previous. Okay.
Right.
I had a couple of those moments.
It was weird too, because like in the last flashback, it's when she leaves. She like leaves with her aunt to go travel the world or whatever. I feel like there wasn't really that moment. Like, she talks about all the problems and the reasons why she left, which, by the way, are all his fault. Like, she has no play in this relationship whatsoever. But
I'd have left too.
Yeah. But there's never really like that moment that's like, this is when things went wrong. Like, she left. I think it's because he didn't play violin for her.
Is that why?
There was something about how he's this amazing violin player.
But now that he is in control of the estate, he's so worried about the books and making sure that the money. And she's like,
all I want for Christmas is for you to play me violin.
I can't. I'm doing the books, woman.
Fine, I'm leaving.
And as soon as I get these ledgers right.
Yeah.
12 years later.
12 years later,
he's
got the ledgers.
No, but they're not. He's still working at it.
I know. That was my other thing, is I'm like, what are you still, like, even 2 years, because he inherits the dukedom, like, when he's, like, 18.
Right.
Like,
and
when his parents died.
And is legitimately in disarray and financial ruin.
But but he turns it around.
Yeah,
they say by the time he's, like, 21, that everyone's, like, got clothes on their back and food on their table.
2 or 3 years later, he's got it all turned around. At that point, why aren't you like, hey girl, come on back. Look what we got.
I just can't. Like, it just was not... I didn't see them falling in love, and then all of a sudden, they're having sex again, and I'm like, oh, what? What did he do to win you back? Like, where is this coming from?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I've pretty much gone through most of my notes is she had everything there. It just needed to be used in a different way and needed padding. Like, she has like the outline of a story, like, but it's not the full
right. And
story.
rather than really diving into it, she just kind of repeats stuff, and it, you know, we have, like you were saying, we have the same fight over and over.
Yeah, that was a problem.
And just, yeah.
Because that's really, if somebody was to ask me, like, what's the story about? I'd be like, this guy and this girl used to be together and now they're not, and they're together by the end. Like, it's
they
not
love
a
each
falling
other,
in love.
But then he got boring and serious. She left. He got whiny. She came back. And
12 years later.
Yeah, and then
a lot changes in 12 years too. Like, you don't even know this person anymore after 12 years. Like,
right? It's totally different. Totally different people.
Yeah. From knowing them and falling in love when you were 16 to being now like 30. Like, that's...
Oh, yeah.
I don't see that happening.
I'm not friends with people I went to high school with. I thought at least Kelly's give me some interesting, you know, some steamy, sexy stuff.
Nope.
At least it's the genre. And I'm flipping pages.
Where is it?
What are these?
I
assume they're gonna. Oh no, that was almost, but it was just a dream. Okay. Oh God.
Making out. Okay. Oh nope, we're done.
No.
Like.
Yeah, there's a lot of making out.
Yeah, there was one sex scene. Like, there was one actual sex scene. Did you have anything else to talk about before we dive into reading our one sexcerpt?
I feel like we've covered it. It's pretty slow.
It's just weird for me too, because I really do love her books.
She's usually better.
Yes, and I'm wondering if maybe
engaging. She gets you.
Yeah, and like, she usually does do a lot of historical romance, which tend to be on the less, I don't want to say less sexy, because there's usually still sex scenes in it, but you know, not as graphic maybe as like contemporary romance, but I've read plenty Sarah MacLean before, and I'm wondering if maybe she's just not used to or suited for doing short stories. Like, maybe if she feels like she needs the longer story to like build the, you know, world and everything, but
maybe so. Yeah, because it just doesn't work in this. It just didn't really work in this format.
Didn't work. And it was such a cool idea.
Exactly. Wanted to. Seems like there was so many possibilities.
I know.
A Christmas Carol type of parallel thing, but whatever.
It's cool. Sarah, I still love you.
Right? I feel like it's hard. I feel bad to, like, when it's like this, you still like it. It's still somebody's art. Somebody created it.
Right, of course.
I'm not meaning to take a shit on it. It's just like, boy, when when you're not as a huge fan of the genre to start off with, and then it's like, we'll try this. Oh, yeah, it just didn't work. And
having read 2 other stories in this book, too, I don't think this one measures up to the other 2. Yeah. Like, the other 2 were just so happy and falling, you know, like, it's one of those ones where I'm like, I don't know if this book was suited for this collection of stories, almost.
That's interesting. I wonder if maybe I will go back and read the others now just to compare. Because this one it's pretty, it's dark, and it is dark.
The other 2 are not.
It's about a kid who's miserable because his father is a miserable, abusive person.
God.
And then his father dies and leaves him a bankrupt business he's got to save, and he works his tail off and loses the woman he loves because he's spending all his time trying to fix the business. And then even she comes back and he still tries to screw it up. Yeah. And he's still pushing it still. And it finally takes, well, who knows whether it's the other dude, the marriage to the other dude, or the cookies. That's what finally pushes him over the edge and says, okay.
Because that's the thing, is you wait for that moment that's like the light bulb moment, the turnaround. Oh my God, what have I been doing with my life? And I'm like, what was it? Was it the cookies? Was it when the Scottish guy showed up at the door? Like, what?
They don't make it clear. Yeah. There's no one obvious turning point.
Yeah. I can tell just by looking through my notes on my Kindle app, like, damn, these names are a mouthful.
Yep.
And when you get like a description of him as like hating Christmas for like the 20th time, I'm like, so he's not a fan of Christmas. Okay. I do like that when he's drunk, they describe it as he's soused.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's some fun old English language.
It's a good word. I have to say too, I really did. I think she's a good writer. Like I like the words she used, and I liked, good adjectives and stuff like that. Like in terms of just like the writing itself, maybe not the story, but like the writing itself, I did enjoy.
Pretty good. Yeah, and like I said, that the snowflake scene, she paints a really vivid,
I love that scene.
lovely scene. Exactly.
I love that scene. I chose an excerpt that isn't when they actually are having sex. This is when he uses this like 3 or 4 times to describe how she tastes as comparing it to wine. So this was one of the excerpts I chose where he says, as she had done all those other times, she opened on a sigh, welcoming his entry as he sealed their mouths together and stroked deep, tasting her like spice, drinking her like wine. And like wine, the taste of her had changed, grown deeper, richer, warmer. I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
Okay, wine gets better with age. That's what we're saying.
Well, you got to justify the fact that, I guess, 12 years has passed and...
She still tastes great.
Still, yeah.
Oh, man. Did you have a specific excerpt you wanted to read? There's only one sex scene, there's really...
I'm trying to see exactly which part I wanted to read. Oh, yeah.
You got it? You got a favorite?
I think so. I'm trying to see where I want to start.
This dialogue is killing me.
It goes on for a while, so I don't want to read the whole
it does.
book. He closed his eyes, thanking his maker for delivering her to him, and let her work open his trousers. He lifted his hips from the bed so she could strip him and, yes, climb over him, straddle him, as though it were a thing they'd done 1,000 times before, as though she'd been in his dreams every night when he'd imagined it. Jack, he whispered, his hands coming to her waist, sliding up to her full, beautiful breasts and back down over her lush curves to clutch her hips and fit her to him, the heat of her like fire against his hard, aching cock. Yeah.
There you go.
Right?
I mean,
that's some good imagery right there. That's some good writing.
She fit a cock in the book. Like, it's, when you put cock in, it's going to be, like, hot.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
And just all these little comma phrase.
Yeah, this one is a page later, and this is when I start to get turned off when they bring too much dialogue into sex scenes, and this one has a lot. Like, they are both very chatty. I don't want to hurt you. Yeah. She put her hands to his chest. You shan't. Damn it, Eben, please. Greedy girl. Only with you, she said. Only ever for you. He could not resist the words, the desire in them that so thoroughly matched his own. And he released her, letting her seat herself, tight and hot and so gloriously wet. He nearly came with that single magnificent movement. No, Jack first. Jack always.
Yeah, that was right there. That was right there for me as well.
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, like, I know there's not a lot of sex in it, but what they got is pretty good.
Yeah, you get like one good fire scene.
That's it. And then you're done. And then the book ends.
Yeah.
Because they have sex and then she's gone. And he's like, marry me. Okay, done. The end. Magic shortbread. Okay, well, I mean, to wrap this book up, how about we give it a couple grades? And I'm excited to hear what you sum it all up to be. Because I found that sometimes we're really harsh critics, and then when we give the grade, we'll be like, yeah, I'd give it like a 9 out of 10. And like, wait a second. No. So this one, you're going to give a grade out of 10 for the story, the syntax, and the sexcapades. So out of 10, 10 being the very best, just start with your grade for story.
2.
Corey doesn't hold back. You know what? I was kind, and I feel like now I'm not. I'm going to give it a 5. I know.
I don't know how it gets that high.
I don't either. Like, I'm thinking on it.
is it a Christmas Carol? No.
I thought that was so clever.
Enough a little bit to distract, but then it's not. It doesn't go anywhere. Yeah.
I really thought, I was like, oh my God, this is so clever. It's a Christmas Carol. The ghosts of Christmas past. Like, and then you said Eben. I was like, oh my God, Ebenezer. Like, but the more we've talked about it, the more I'm just like, But I gave it a 5 this morning, and I'm sticking with my 5.
Yeah, no. You gotta be true to you.
I got you, Sarah. How about syntax? So Miss MacLean's writing in general, conventions, word choice.
Yeah, that stuff, like we just talked about, is I had no problem with. I thought she did a pretty good job of that. I'd give it like 7.
Yeah, I give it an 8. So we're in the same ballpark on that one. And then the sexcapades.
So this is a difficult one to judge. There's not much of it in the book, so I would give it. My first inclination is give it a low score. Because there's like a little bit of a hint of one, but it's not. It's a dream that he wakes up from in the middle of, and then there's some making out, but then there's some good sex at the end. Mm-hmm. So it's just not very much. I give it a low score. But when we do get there,
it's good.
It's good.
Yeah.
She gives some fun descriptions. So I guess I'd have to go 5 just because it's right down the middle.
No, that's fair.
If there had been at least another actual scene maybe that might have lifted the score up. And had she not written it as well, the score would have gone down.
Yeah. There you go. And you know what? We had a story in this same book where there is not a sex scene. Like, they, in the end, get married, and there's, like, when they go to bed together, but then it's like, and they embraced and did it. And that's, like, the whole scene.
That's not what you're going for with these books, though, right?
No, I mean, but that one was, like, more of, like, a romance. Like, you're reading the love story. You're reading it for the love, not the sex. Like, and so, I mean, that's the thing, is a lot of people read different types of romance novels because different ones offer you different things.
I guess so.
So, this one definitely, I always think of them like, is it putting the sex first or the story first? And I feel like, I don't know with this one. So I gave it a 6.
I don't feel like she put much first.
Yeah.
She put the paycheck first.
Yeah. That's okay. That's okay.
Right.
We get it.
You gotta make that dough, Sarah.
Yeah, but no, for sure.
Fund your lifestyle so you can go write some real stuff.
Right, for sure. Now you got this done, you go start a new one.
Like a full story of your own, not just this little.
You can do better than
novella here, like
fake Ebenezer.
Do your own thing.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, cool. Okay, well, we kind of started with this, but my question would be, were you happy with the experience? But I feel like mixed reviews.
No, you know what? Very happy with the experience overall. It was
Great.
Still fun. It was fun to do. I did, even though it's very short, I didn't read it all. I could have probably knocked this all out in one evening if I wanted to, but I didn't. And but I read part of it, and even though I was like, this story's not going anywhere, I was like, I want to go see. Now it was like a train wreck. I want to see how much more we're going to go before there's like chapter 5, chapter 6. We still have not had like a really true.
Right.
I'm thinking what was going to be kind of what this book was going to be about.
Yeah.
Those hot and heavy scenes in chapter 6.
Where
chapter
is it?
7. So now is like this anticipation of like, when's this going to happen?
When's it happening? Yeah, no, that's fair.
It still became fun, but just in a weird backwards way.
And now, having talked about it, do you think you might check out another romance novel, whether it's another story in this book or outside of this book?
I would like to think that I would, but in all honesty, I probably won't.
Maybe if I made you do another podcast.
Yep, absolutely.
That's been like a general consensus from a lot of people. It's like, hey, it was fun, but like, unless somebody's like, you know, making sure that I have to read something, I probably won't.
Honestly, the unfortunate thing is I feel like I'm reading less and less these days anyway. And so with that time being a little more precious, I feel like I'm going to go to the stuff that
You're going to pick and choose what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I feel it.
I gotcha. Branching out and trying something new right now in that area seems like...
hey, you gave it a shot. Yeah. And you know what? If you decide that you've got free time on your hands and you want to give it another shot, you've got 3 more stories in this book.
Fair. And I'm sure you would have a multitude of recommendations at any point.
I've got plenty more options for you.
How long? When did you first start reading these types of books?
I started reading, and I know this like for sure. I started reading the winter break of my freshman year of college, because I had come home from school and I had never really been much of a reader growing up. Like I read a lot of plays. I read a lot of Shakespeare, a lot of plays. In high school, I really just did like the required reading. Like I wasn't looking for extracurricular reading. And then when I came home, my mom and my grandma had been romance readers for years. I had never even thought about it because why would I? And I like just picked up a book that was like sitting in a box in the garage and was like, you know what? This looks cute. Like I'll give it a shot. And reading it, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is fun. It's like reading a rom-com, and that's what I like to watch because it was a contemporary romance. And then at the same time, I was like, oh my God, this is so dirty. Like this is so funny. I can't believe I'm reading this. And so that was definitely,
and I
feel
can't
like
believe my grandmother reads this.
Yes, exactly. Because it's, I mean, at this point, it's like grandma will read one, give it to mom will give it to me, I'll give one to mom. Like, but then we also have all different ones. Because like there's ones I read where I'm like, I am not sharing this with my mother. Like it's, okay. Like.
Okay. So yeah, like anything artistic,
right.
There's going to be a various range of
absolutely
styles and tastes.
And romance has so many subgenres that
sure.
I mean, there's something for everything. Okay, so one of our last things we'll set this book aside at this point, and we'll play a last little kind of holiday activity game, and then we'll do our 5th giveaway for a lucky Twitter follower.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know you're excited about that. And so I had a couple questions from this book that I thought would be fun to pose to you as sort of like a what if kind of scenario. One of them I just thought of while we were talking about the book was that the two main characters, they've lived next door to each other for years, right? And they have this secret passageway between their houses. And so I thought, okay, if you had a next door neighbor and you had this secret passageway to their house, who would you want this neighbor to be? And it could be anybody.
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. Oh, you know, it would be over to be next door to like Robin Williams and just play over at his house as a kid, or if I can, I'm just picking anybody from any timeline, whatever. Like if we were the same age, like Michael Jordan, and be able to like play basketball with Michael Jordan.
Yeah, you could be like his coach. Like you could, I mean, it's right? You could have had such a hookup from that.
LeBron, whatever. Be like his buddy who's like runs his production company.
Yeah, I know. Right? Because he doesn't already do enough. Okay, so you thought about it as like a growing up point of view. I thought about it as like, who would I want to live next door to now? And the first thing I thought of was somebody who cooks. I was like, I want to live next door to someone who I can like go next door and they're always going to have something good on the table. And I think of this woman that was on Top Chef, and I think she's the host of like a talk show now, and her name is Carla. But I love her. She's always good, and she's Southern, so she's got like this fiery attitude, and she makes her gumbo, and I'm like, I want to live next door to Carla.
Well, yeah, especially because with this book, how it starts off that she snuck over there to start cooking because there's no food back at her house.
Taking all the food from his kitchen. Perfect. And then other thing is, Lady Jane believes her cookie recipe is magic in this book. She's got this magic shortbread recipe that whoever eats it will fall in love. I was wondering do you or your family have any other sort of, I don't know if you want to call them like superstitions, traditions, like something funny like that you guys believe in. Like we have this magic shortbread cookie recipe. We have this sweater that's been passed down for years.
My wife and I we sort of joke around that she makes this taco soup. It's like all like the things that you would find in tacos in a soup. And it's amazing. And she cooked it for me on early on in our, when we first started dating. And that we joke that had apparently magical powers because I was hooked after that.
That's when you fell in love.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Like
I
already dug the girl, but man, that soup is so good.
Yes, she's a keeper.
Absolutely, right? And that's, so now, however many years, dated for a couple of years, been married for many, so like, whatever, 15 years later, it's still... She still got me, so that's the very first thing.
Okay, so she made you soup. how did you hook her? What's the magic thing you did?
Lady, I've been asking myself that question about every day for the last 15 years.
Okay, that's fair.
Seriously, I don't know.
I feel like you came out with the better deal. You got the girl and the soup.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
I make no bones about that fact. I'm married up.
You know what? It's not really even my family, but I grew up with best friend and, her family, Filipino, very like huge family, so welcoming. So they've always felt like family. Mm-hmm. And I just remember staying home sick once in high school, and it was like the sickest I'd ever been. And she comes over to see me with her dad, and they brought me a bag of barbecue Lay's potato chips. And I was like, why would you bring me these chips? Like, that does not sound good at all. And they're like, no, you don't understand. Like, this is what you're supposed to eat when you're sick, and this will always, always fix you. Barbecue Lay's potato chips. And I was like, what? And I did not eat them. Like, I'm sorry. I love them. I love barbecue Lay's potato chips, but I for sure did not eat them when I was sick.
You didn't just to try?
No, I felt sick.
Because that's so out of left field. Nobody would think that. So I would think, okay, this has to happen.
So it could be true. They think it's true. It's kind of like in my big fat Greek wedding where they like spray Windex on everything. And I to this day have not had them when I was sick.
What kind of sick were you? Like cold, congestion?
Flu? No, like flu. Like you don't want to eat anything. And they brought me chips. So of course that sounded disgusting.
And not just chips, but barbecue.
And it was like specifically barbecue Lay's potato chips because
that's amazing.
And it was a big bag. You know,
so
if you're
she's
gonna
real
do it.
Sick.
Yeah.
Get the family size.
She gets the Costco bag.
This is bad. Like if it's just a cold, then you get like a little vending machine snack bag. But like she is on. Get the Costco.
Yeah.
I have to.
So could be true.
I want to try it, but I get what you're saying. Like when you're like nauseous, you don't want to eat anything.
Anything.
Like maybe I'll have like a little bit of broth.
Yeah.
That kind of sick.
But barbecue Lay's potato chips, the Cannelin family will swear by it. So who knows? Yeah. All right. And as it is the 5th day of Boobsmas, that means it is time for us to pick a 5th giveaway winner. And this one is coming to you from Twitter, from the Dirty Elf Name Generator. Corey, our guest of the day, has picked his favorite. And that winner is, drumroll please, the Two Girls on a Bench podcast. Congratulations, ladies. We picked you off of your fabulous Dirty Elf name, which was Smooshy the Naughty Dime Piece.
I mean, how can you go wrong with that?
I don't think there's any beating that.
Every word in that is hilarious, and every word gets funnier than the next.
Yeah, exactly. So congrats to our Two Girls on a Bench podcast, and they're also Los Angeles based, so always exciting. Corey has picked out a blind date with a book that you both are going to take home, and why don't you give them a little taste of what they've got in store, Corey?
So get ready for this. Hold on to your hats for this one. On a ship, on her way to New York, she has a passionate affair with the guy who turns out to be her new boss.
Ooh.
Dun, dun, dun.
That one sounds sexier than the book we just read.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Cool. Well, those ladies will be excited for their prize. Thank you so much for joining me, Corey.
It was my pleasure.
Oh, you're always welcome. And last little thing everyone should be excited for. On the 5th day of Boobsmas, my lover gave to me 5 penis rings. Happy holidays, everyone.
On the 5th day of Boobsmas, my lover gave to me 5 penis rings. 5 penis rings. 4 tips of fucking, 3 butt plugs, 2 nipple clips, and a